It's me, Renee. I'm back. And yeah, as you can see, I'm here for a Eurovisionathon wrap up. It's now been 2 weeks since the Eurovisionathon happened. Yeah, just life has happened. I've been busy, things have happened, so yeah, haven't really managed to do this video before now. And yeah, here it is. Here you are. Um, Now also like since it's been a little while, I'm not quite sure like how much I want to remember from like all different stuff and so all like, but like I also did like do updates now and then. So it was also just as well. I think this gonna be more a general talking about Eurovision. I'm not really gonna go deep into all the books because yeah, as I said, um, I don't really remember all of them at this point in time really. But yeah, I have some books I finished like at the last days of Eurovisionathon. So I could talk about that. Yes. So firstly, we have President's Hat, The President's Hat by Antoine Laurent. So this I read for France. I read it in the last week of Eurovisionathon. Well, yeah, in the last week. Um, and also I got it from I bought it used. It doesn't really look used, but yeah, I got it used. And yeah, I've had it on my TBR for like a year, a few months, a little time. But yeah, and I thought, you know what? It's not a big book, and I feel like I want to read something for France because I feel like this year's Summer of France is so good. So I feel like, yeah, I'm gonna read it. In case you don't know how I plan to like what I read for Eurovision Fun, I almost always like want to read a song from a country that I love the song. I read a song. I always want to read book from a country that has a great song, and then I often like take like books that are easy, like a book by a Norwegian author because I'm Norwegian. It's easy to pick up books. Like it's not that difficult to find an interesting Norwegian book. Well, it's not very easy because honestly, there's not a lot of amazing Norwegian authors, at least in my mind. For me, it's for my taste. But there's always some, and then like, yeah, reading Norwegian books and then picking up from the entries I enjoy. And other than that, sometimes I just kind of randomly go to used bookstore, or like go to a library and ask like, do you have any recommendations for any books set in these countries and whatever. And yeah, so far I've never read all 37. Well, read from all the countries participating, though. That's always like it's almost always like 30 something, and it's kind of like even though me who like I do is read. I'm a mood reader, and I'm not gonna read all the time, even though I read like 98% of the time. But yeah, reading that many books for like just like for 4 weeks, it's a bit of a challenge. And for some reason, I still like every year kind of still feel like I will do it this year. I have not done it yet. I've participated in Eurovision for 3 years now. Have not finished all of the countries. Though then again, I suppose it's not like like if you just read one book for Eurovision, you've managed it. I mean, it's not like you have to read many books to like participate. I suppose it would be fun one year to like have finished all of the books, all of the countries. But if it ever gonna happen, maybe not. But yeah. So yeah, let's get back to this book. So I read it the last week. I read for France because yeah, I want to read something for France. Even though at this last week I've kind of gotten a bit like I suppose a bit book slumpy. I've kind of felt like I've read so much. I kind of want to read less. I kind of want to just listen to the songs and not read that much. But I kind of also want to finish some books. So I was kind of on the fence the last book, last week. But I did finish this one. And yeah, so in case you don't know what this is all about, it's set in the 80s. And it's like, kind of tells the story of a hat in a way because, okay, so it starts with this one guy who's going out to dinner around New Year's. He's alone, so he goes out to dinner instead of like being at home. And he ends up accidentally sitting and next to the president in France at the time, in the restaurant. And then the president, he forgets his hat, and then uh, like the guy we follow, he decides to take the hat for himself instead of like running after the president. And then after a while, he loses the hat on a train. Someone else takes the hat, so it's kind of like the journey of the hats, and like yeah, the story of these all these people who have these hats, and like kind of how the hat changes their life in a way, which I like the concept. I think that's a very cool concept, like following different people and like have objects changes their life. Very cool concept. In the beginning of the book, I quite liked. And then after a while, it kind of became honestly a bit too abstract to me, a bit too. I just, yeah. I suppose I could have DNF'd it, but it was like it is not like a huge book. It's a book with 211 pages. So I felt like I don't really want to DNF that short book, even though I mean you can DNF short books as well. But I didn't really want to do that. So yeah, I did finish it. I did skim a lot of it, but yeah. So I suppose if I didn't have it, I probably would have ended with like having a better taste of it in my mouth. But as it is, I didn't enjoy it all that much. I'm gonna give it away to a used bookstore because yeah, it wasn't that good. Like yeah, I like the idea of it. The concept kind of became too abstract and too like a lot of the characters I didn't really care about. And if a book is based all around characters, where it's all about just like people that living their lives, you have to care about the characters. So yeah, didn't really do it for me. I also read a book for Sweden, which I suppose yay because Sweden won. And I'm going to talk about a bit about that later. But yeah, I read Bar Satsiki, which is a reread for me. This is one of my childhood favorite books, the third in the series. So it's a 5 book series, so quintet. It is. I'm not gonna say it's not a milligram. I would say it's more like yeah, I would say almost like it's more like a chapter book in a way, because well, I suppose it's in chapters. I'm not quite sure how you define chapter books. People talk about them sometimes on BookTube and stuff, but I'm not quite sure. Is it chapter books just books with chapters in it, or is it books for kids with chapters? Anyway, yeah, okay. So this is all about Satsiki, the main character. Yeah, he's named after Greek dressing. Weird, but yeah. His mom is a bit quirky, so that's yeah. So his dad is Greece. His dad is from Greece. His dad is Grecian. Yeah, from Greece. His mom is Swedish. And in the first book, yeah, like the first book starts with his first year in primary school, and then each book takes place over different year. So this third book takes place during his third year, and in Sweden, in that time he's 10. So yeah, so it calls him as a 10-year-old. And yeah, he's kind of going through life. Just it's kind of like one of those like living life stories. It's not like a mystery or a fantasy or anything like that. It's just him living his life. But also Tatsuki, he's a big imagination. So often he like yeah, he kind of he looks at people around, think like, oh, that's a spy, that's an alien. Like he has these absurd ideas. It gets him into a bit of trouble, and us readers into a very good time because it's just so funny and hilarious. And yeah, even now as a 30-year-old, I very much enjoy this book. Rereading it, it's just so funny, and yeah, still very much enjoy it. Like upon rereading it, and yeah, I believe it's actually out also in English. There might be a mistake in there. I think it is available in English. At least the first 2 books, I think. If not, sorry, you guys, you can't enjoy this amazing series. But yeah, yeah. As I said, I read it for Sweden because Swedish author. Could probably have read it for Greece because, I mean, his dad visits, but he's also half Grecian, half from half. Yeah, his dad is from Greece, so yeah, and yeah, and then I started this slightly, but like I ended up starting this the day of the Eurovision, the final, and I wasn't really that much in the mood for it really, and also like I had people over to watch the final, and also at the beginning of the day I went to work, so like because I work sometimes on Saturdays, so like when I got home, I kind of had to clean up, and yeah, I wasn't really in the mood or couldn't really read that much, so I just read a bit in it. I thought I might like read more in it the days after. I didn't. I'm thinking I might just read more in it next year, like for next Eurovision one. Might do that. But I mean, cool book to have anyway. It's a non-fiction book all about like it talks about each year in Eurovision and like yeah the winners and whatnot. And yeah. So yeah, in case you don't know, I suppose maybe you're just watching the Eurovision TBR and this video. Maybe you don't watch the updates. I don't know what you're doing. So you're curious about how many books I end up reading. I end up reading what, 3, 4, 5, 6. End up reading 2023 reads, which well, sorry, 23 countries. I have like one star here, like because I made like a fun little chart for like different country names and put stars when I finish a book. I have one star here with just say ESC, so like Eurovision Song Contest. And yeah, it's ESC. It's not a country. I suppose you might think it's a country. It's not a country. It's a competition. It's yeah, I mean, it's a shortening for Eurovision Song Contest. I have a star here because I read a book. Um, I don't quite remember what book I thought about that, but yeah, it was a book um, that was like I think it was either about Eurovision in general. Yeah, it was a book about Eurovision in general. Actually, it's an ebook which I don't read many of. No, it was an ebook. Yeah, anyway, I read one book that was from a country, well, was like based around a country I already read the book from. And like for the Eurovisionathon, I suppose you can do like if you want to, you can just read 12 books from England, the whole Eurovisionathon. That's up to you. But you can just count one of them as like for the contest or for the contest for the Eurovisionathon. So yeah, since one of these books from that I read, I don't really quite remember which book it was, but yeah, I've already read a country before, so I just can't put the star there because I've read the book, but it doesn't really count. So yeah, that's what I did. And yeah, so this year's Eurovision, I would say I had quite fun reading experience. Really, I read um first really what did I read? Sorry. Yeah, I'm kind of like trying to look up back and like kind of thinking about where I read from different things again. You know what? I'm gonna check it out because I have a cheat. Please go. Yes, I'm back. Sorry, I had to. I suppose you wouldn't really notice, but yeah, I had to fix some stuff. So yeah, I think a favorite for Eurovision Fun, I'm thinking would have to be the Secret Chapter, which was actually a reread, but yeah, I very much enjoyed it reread. Takes place in Austria, and even though it's a reread, I didn't really remember all that much stuff. So yeah, I was quite surprised for a lot of it, and I loved all the twists and turns in it. It's a heist movie. It's a heist book, heist story. Takes place in a like similar to our world 2000 era world, but in a world where you have dragons and werewolves and whatnot. And a lot of the books in this series take place in like 1800, 1700 world, so it's kind of fun to like have a bit of more modern setting in this one. And yeah, just very much loved, enjoyed this plot and this book. And then I also very much enjoyed the girl who learned all the languages in the world, which I suppose in a way it's a bit of a redundant, it's a bit of a exaggeration because in the book the girl doesn't learn all the languages in the world, but she starts to learn like 12. I think she like says she kind of wants to learn all languages in the world. So I suppose it's more like a title on the idea that she wants to learn all languages in the world. But yeah, I quite enjoyed it. It's quite a short book. It's like 55 pages, and there's like there is pictures on there, so it's not like book words all over. But yeah, it is I would say like a middle grade book. It's quite easily read, but still, for me as an adult, I quite enjoyed this book. Still, it was entertaining and kind of made you think. Honestly, kind of made me think a bit. I do think I talked a bit about this in a update, but in case you didn't see that, this book is about a girl living in Latvia. Her dad is a diplomat, so and she's a lone child, and so like at the beginning of the book, she just knows Latvian, and then one day she's allowed to be uh, at a dinner where her dad hosts a dinner with like lots of diplomats from around the world. But because she doesn't know English and she doesn't know any other languages than Latvian, she can't really participate in the conversation. So she just has to sit there and just kind of be bored because everyone's talking and she doesn't understand anything. She notices something like, oh, that sounds like this word in Latvian. And then she tries to like communicate, and then it turns out, no, that word sounds like that word, but it means something completely different. And yeah, and then I kind of after that, she kind of actually decides to, you know what? I don't want to feel alone and excluded anymore. I want to learn languages. So like the next day, she decides to like learn a lot of languages, not just English, but like Swedish, French, Italian, Spanish, uh, English, I think Russian, yeah, a lot of languages. So uh, she finds these dictionaries and just kind of sits down, just looks up different words, and then kind of tries to learn them. And yeah, it's kind of a nice book, really, quirky book in a way, because I mean, learning all languages in the world, who does that? And also like just looking at dictionaries is kind of a weird pastime. But yeah, also yeah, I quite enjoyed the book, and yeah, would recommend it if you want a quick read, or if you just want something to read for next year's Eurovision, maybe. And yeah, so that's kind of like about the Eurovisionathon uh, reading experience for this year. I kind of also want to talk a bit about the Eurovision final because I mean this is all about Eurovision final. I mean that's why Eurovisionathon happens. It's why it's called that and what have you. So Norway, um, Alessandra, she got fifth place, which I feel like is good. I mean, I really like her voice, her song. I kind of got tired of, so I suppose in a way I was kind of happy we didn't win because I didn't really feel like it deserved to win in a way. But yeah, it feels a bit weird to say that when you're Norwegian, but I'm honest, so I do I do say things that are honest. Yeah, no matter what, no matter what. But yeah, and then Sweden winning. Yeah, it didn't really feel like it was all that good of a song really either. Like Loreen, yeah, she's a good singer. She has a good voice. I mean, she already won one, so I mean, we know she can sing. I mean, she has a voice. But yeah, I kind of feel like they kind of talked about in there's a program here in Norway, Adesse, where they talk about the different songs before Eurovision final. And this year, one of like people interviewed told like they like it felt like Sweden it was kind of like too artistic, and yeah, I feel like also like the dance and like the song kind of felt like much more like an art movement than a song. Really, it didn't really. I felt like it was too artsy, really. So yeah, didn't really feel like it was that good. I didn't really feel like it should have won. Sorry, Swedes, if you see this and are mad, but yeah. That's my opinion. People are allowed to have them. And also, but on the other hand, because a lot of people said like they feel like Finland should have won, and on the other hand, I felt like Finland was too quirky. They were too arty. I mean, yes, I said Sweden. They were like arty and weird, and didn't like that. And yeah, I mean, sometimes arty is cool and fun, but Finland, I suppose, in a way, Finland, I wouldn't really say were arty. Finland were just like, what? It was just too weird of a song, really. I, I didn't really like it. Other people felt like it was so out of the box that I really enjoyed it. For me, it was just too weird. Too weird. It wasn't really anything. It wasn't really uh like it was. I suppose you could say it was weird, but like other than that, I wouldn't really say it was like a very good song achievement. It wasn't really. It didn't give me vibes or anything. It was just weird song. I mean, eh, I suppose you could say it's not forgettable because it was different and weird. But yeah, I mean, you can still have memorable, like have something cool and good. And uh, I suppose, maybe, am I saying Finland's song was bad? It wasn't bad, maybe, but yeah, it was. Yeah, it was just weird, just very out there and weird, and yeah, it wasn't really for me. It wasn't my taste at all. And until the final, I kind of thought that France would have gotten more points. I felt like France was like, for me, I felt like France and Austria were like the big hitters this year. France, Italy, Austria. I feel like all of those I felt like should have won, and they didn't. I mean, Italy got third place, was it? Fourth place around that, and yeah, that definitely deserved it. But yeah, I'm just baffled why France didn't have more points because that performance, that singing voice, that song, I mean, it was all just out of the ballpark. It was just amazing. And yet, Sweden won? I think France ended up at like 7 or 8 place. And I was like, what? What happened? I was just like watching the numbers getting and like France not getting any points. It was like, what is going on? I was just so baffled and I didn't really understand it at all. And yeah, I didn't understand that. I did can't say I did. I did not. So yeah, yeah. Uh yes. Blah blah blah. I feel like I had something else to say. Yeah, so France I didn't really didn't get any points. I was baffled. Was there something else to say about the singers and the song and the night? No, I feel like that's kind of it, really. So, yeah, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on Eurovision this year and Eurovisionathon. So, yeah, I did enjoy it as always, and yeah, um, yes. Also, kind of funny. I asked for recommendations on like the when it was like well, sorry, I actually asked for recommendations on like the Friday before Eurovision, like the final. So before Eurovision, so like I would never have gotten through all those books. Uh, but I suppose now I kind of actually also have quite a big choices and list and books to read for next year. So yeah, always good to have like books to already planned or already options for next year. That's always fun and nice. And yeah, did you have a nice Eurovision if you did it? Did you watch Eurovision? Did you feel like Sweden should have won? Please talk to me in the comments. Or not. That's up to you. Not that people often comment back to my videos, but I mean, you have still want to talk to people at the end of the video. So yeah. Anywho, bye.